Hello, good evening. Today is Sunday, May 31st, 2020. I'm Bhavani Thuraisingham, Professor of Computer Science at the University of Texas at Dallas. I'm also the founding executive director of the Cybersecurity Research and Education Institute at the university. The institute was founded in 2004, October, when I joined the university after a career in the commercial industry, Honeywell, federally funded Research and Development Center, the MITRE Corporation, the National Science Foundation as an IPA from MITRE, and then I joined UT Dallas as a professor, as well as to start the Cybersecurity Institute. I have worked in cybersecurity and data science since 1985 fall, when I joined Honeywell. And since then, my work has focused on all aspects of cybersecurity and data science. Now, I'm going to present a summary of our Cybersecurity Research and Education Institute. I built this institute over the past close to 16 years. It started with one person, which is myself, and now we have numerous faculty who are part of the institute. So in particular, I will discuss what we have accomplished and our plans for the future. So I'm going to share my screen. So the title of the talk, the cybersecurity capabilities at the University of Texas at Dallas. Our accomplishments from June 2004 to May 2020. And you can get more information from our CSI website. And so we are also going to post this presentation at the CSI website, and the video presentation will be posted on YouTube. So, the outline provides an overview of our faculty, history and accomplishments, our sponsors over the years, our research and education collaborations, and then the main focus will be on our research thrusts. And again, education is for me equally important as research because we are professors. So I will discuss our various education programs, our research prototypes and tools, and our industry university cooperative research centers. And then provide an example of one such center, and then our plans for a cyber operations laboratory, and then summary, and then the directions. And I'll also give you some contact information. So our faculty. As you can see, we started with one professor, and that is myself. In October 2004, that's when I joined the university, and now I'm the founder's chair professor and the executive director. I was educated in the United Kingdom. And we have, I would say, about 50 co-faculty, all from the engineering and computer science school. We also have several other co-faculty that's going to be in the next chart. So Professor Kanad Basu in hardware security, Professor Feng Chen, machine learning and artificial intelligence, and some of his applications are in cybersecurity, Ivo Desmet in cryptography, Zygmunt Haas in wireless network security, Kevin Hamlin, language and software security, Shuang Hao, network security, measurements and DNS attacks, Tankuk Ji, systems security, malware analysis, Murat Kantajulu, data security and privacy, Latifa Khan, big data analytics for security, Chong Kim, he's going to join us in the fall of 2020, and he works in cyber physical systems and IoT security, Yorgos Makris, hardware security, Kamil Sarak in cybersecurity education, as well as network measurements, Wei Wu, data science and social media, Wei Yang, system security and software engineering, and Yiling Yan, IoT and web services security. So these are our core faculty from the engineering and computer science. We've got altogether, I believe, with me about 16. And then we also work extensively with other professors in other schools at the university. So here are some examples. Professor Alain Benzeswan is actually a world famous professor. He headed the European Space Agency and INRIA in France before we joined our business school, School of Management. He works in risk analysis for security. And Patrick Brandt, he works in political science. So we do a lot of data science in collaboration with him for a number of projects with applications in political science. Julia Gell, she is an expert in statistics and machine learning. Jennifer Holmes, cybersecurity policy, and she is our dean of the School of Economics, Policy, and Political Sciences. And Daniel Krychek, he works in psychosocial behavioral aspects of security. So these are our core faculty. And we have several affiliated faculty from our engineering and computer science school, as well as some other schools, but here I'm mainly focusing on ECS. We have Farouk Bastani. He heads one of the IUCRCs. Jorge Cobb, he does some of our outreach. His research is in reliable networks. He does our outreach in cybersecurity. Ebru Kankaya, she works on women in cybersecurity and works closely with me. Neeraj Gupta, he works in digital forensics. Kong Liu, real-time systems security. Neeraj Vital, distributed system security. Sriram Natarajan, machine learning. Nicholas Ruyutsi, machine learning. And Shi Wei, software engineering and security. And Eric Wong, who works in reliable software engineering. We have a number of research scientists and postdocs. Example, Yan Zhao, she works in machine learning and security, and Eric Baumann works in system security. So we also have Dr. Jonathan Bakdash, who is a member of the Army Research Lab in Maryland, but he is a resident researcher from the Army. And so he is with us at UT Dallas. His research is in behavioral aspects of security. And so we work with him and Professor Daniel Krychek, whom I mentioned in the previous chart, on various aspects of behavioral security. And the person who keeps us all together is Ms. Rhonda Walls. She is our project coordinator. So she really has her hands full, as you can see, managing all these professors and our programs and our research and our education, and you will see more of it. We have a number of alumni, emeritus faculty. So our alumni faculty, what happens is that they work with us, they join our team, and they become very successful, and they are lured by some other universities with huge salaries and so on. But that's also an important part, because we want to spread our expertise throughout the country. So we have Michael Baron, statistics, and he's now at American University. Nathan Berg, he does work in economics and security, and now he's at University of Otago in New Zealand. I believe he's the only one who is out of the country now. Alvaro Cardenas, a top expert in cyber-physical systems security, and he's now at UC Santa Cruz. Doug Harris, he's emeritus professor. He was also an associate dean, and he's the one who really initiated cybersecurity at UT Dallas a few months before I joined. In June 2004, he got one certification. And so he was also very active in recruiting me to UT Dallas, together with some of the other professors. Then Ji-Chang Lin, he does work in system security and forensics. He's now at Ohio State. And J.V. Rajendran, he works in hardware security. Now he's a professor, assistant professor at Tamil. And we have a number of alumni lecturers, research scientists, postdocs. And so one of our postdocs, Jan Karlberg, he and I work very closely together on various topics such as terrorism and political violence and so on. He's now an assistant professor at West Point US Military Academy. In fact, last year, I visited West Point because I serve on the editorial board of a very prestigious journal that is published by West Point, and it's on cyber defense. And so it was just amazing visiting West Point last September. And then a number of others who graduated at UT Dallas. Mehdi Massoud, he's now a professor at the University of United Arab Emirates. And that was their first job after they left UT Dallas. Okay, so now they have gotten promoted. For instance, Mehdi, I'm sure he's an associate professor, and Mamoun is now a full professor. So Junet Akora, PhD from University of Subria, and then he worked as a research scientist for a number of years, blockchain. He's now an assistant professor at the University of Manitoba. As I said, Mamoun is at University of United Arab Emirates. Chunjun Lee, his first job after he did a postdoc with me was at Brown University, also as a postdoc. Greg Lee did a postdoc, or he was a research scientist, PhD from University of Washington. He's now an assistant professor at Case Western Reserve University. Nathan McDaniel, he did his master's under our Scholarship for Service program, and he worked with me as a research scientist on some of our social media security projects. And so after he worked for us in our team, he joined the Applied Research Center. It was also at UT Dallas. Dr. Tyrone Cadenhead, senior scientist at Blue Cross Blue Shield. And Dr. Janelle Straat, she did a lot of work on women in cybersecurity. She's now a lecturer at Rice University. So this shows that we have a very strong team, but some of our professors also have sort of gone outside of UTD, and that also shows the strength of what we have at UT Dallas. Okay, so what are our accomplishments? I mean, if I were to list all of our accomplishments, I think it's going to take probably hours and hours. So we got the NSA DHS Center for Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity Education. That was in June 2004. That happened before I came. And the person who was instrumental in doing that is Dr. Douglas Harris, who is now retired from UT Dallas. He also developed the SIAL, Security Analysis and Information Assurance Laboratory, in July 2004. And so we could conduct a number of experiments. It's not a classified facility because we are a university, but you can conduct experiments with malware because what happens in SIAL stays in SIAL. But we have got some plans now for reorganizing the SIAL lab. So we got the NSA DHS Center for Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity Research. We were one of the first 18 teams to get this, universities, and that was in June 2008. Then we got our first Scholarship for Service, SFS, which is very prestigious. That was in 2010. From what we do here is educate US citizen students on scholarships, and then they have to go and work for the government. So if we give them a 2-year scholarship, they work for the government for 2 years, federal government and also state government and sometimes federal laboratories. These scholarships, they can have anywhere from 1 to 3 years. So for 3-year scholarship means they've got to serve for 3 years. Then we've got follow-on grants, 2014 and 2019. So first we got 2+ million, then 4+ million. The last one was also about 4+ million. And by 2024, we would have educated over 80 master's students in cybersecurity. So we can have this for bachelor's, for master's, or for PhD. Some of the students are planning to do the 3-year program and do their PhDs. And then, of course, for 2 years, we've got to find them support as research assistants or teaching assistants. Associated with this SFS program, we've got multiple capacity development grants, and these include secure cloud computing, big data security and privacy, and blockchain. Then in 2011, we organized TechSaw, Texas Security Awareness Week. What do we do there? So sometimes we have a whole week worth of programs, sometimes it's for 2 or 3 days, sometimes it's just 1 day. What we do is we invite all of the students in Texas and also the neighboring states, sometimes Arkansas, Louisiana, New Mexico, Oklahoma. So we have anywhere around 40 to 80 students attend this TechSaw, and they do a lot of work. We have workshops and a lot of experimental workshops. So capture the flag events, so the students really enjoy it. And I hope we can have it October of 2020. I know we have to deal with COVID-19, but at least we'd like to have a virtual workshop. So we are having some discussions. We also hosted the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, Cybersecurity Information Sharing Symposium. That was a huge event. The director of NIST visited us to open this conference. Then we got recertification. So when we get the certification, as I said, 2004, 2008, we've got to continuously recertify. I believe our next recertification should be sometime, I believe, in 2021. So we got our recertifications for both education and research. A number of presentations such as National Privacy Research Strategy. So what we'd like to do is to host workshops and then present the workshop results at a national forum. And what we hope is to influence some of the programs. So I believe that the presentation that we made to the National Privacy Research Strategy based on a workshop we hosted for NSF on big data security and privacy, that did have an influence on some of the privacy programs that the government established around 2015, 2016. Then we became a member of the NIST FFRDC, Federally Funded Research and Development Center, so MITRE, and that was where I worked before I joined UTD, and the University of Maryland system. They are the founders of this FFRDC, and we are academic partners, a number of us, about 10 universities, I believe. Then what is really important here, we became the first university in Texas in June 2005, and the 14th in the US to become the NSA DHS Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Operations. And that was in June 2015. And we hosted and chaired the Women in Cybersecurity WSIS conference in April 2016 and established the Center for Engaging Women in Cybersecurity. And that was done in September 2016. Then we have also hosted a number of other conferences and events, very prestigious conferences such as ACM-CCS. It's the #1 cybersecurity, #1 or the top 2, you can say, in October 2017, and also top data science conference like ICDM and ICDE. That was a virtual conference. We just finished about a month ago, just over a month ago. About 2,000 people attended, and we hosted it. It was virtual. Also hosted several prestigious smaller conferences. When I say smaller, it's not that small. It's 100 plus, between 100 and 200. So as you can see, a number of conferences. Okay, so other accomplishments as a team, we've got 50 million plus in comparative research funding. And it's mostly, almost all federal funding. And about 15 million plus in education funding, and that was accomplished in the last 15 plus years. As I said, I joined October 4th, and so it's not quite 16 years. And we got our first grant actually about a year after I joined. So some prestigious grants, multiple NSF career. For a junior faculty, NSF career is extremely important. And all of the faculty that we have hired so far, they have gotten NSF careers. And we have some other professors who we just hired like last year and year before last. So, they have, more time to get these careers. So I'm hoping that all of them will get their careers. We also have multiple AFOSR, Air Force Office of Scientific Research, YIPS, that is a Young Investigator Program. And some of our professors have got both career and YIPS. Then we've got DoD MURI, DURIP, that's for equipment. MURI is extremely prestigious. It's, I believe it's a multidisciplinary university research initiative, but usually multiple universities form a team and submit proposals. Then DURIP, that's from the Department of Defense Instrumentation Program. We've got several what they call mini MURIs. They're not quite MURIs, but our program sponsor used to call them mini MURIs. That's really that's not an official term. So these are mostly like 1 to 2+ million grants. Multiple NSF MRI, that's the research instrumentation. Large SATSI, that's a secure, trustworthy cyberspace from NSF, and multiple medium. These are large ones, are around $3 million, and multiple medium. So medium is around, I believe, $1.2 million, right? But that's with partners. Then we had a research grant competition that was in 2005, highly competitive, prestigious NSA VMware Amazon partnership grants, NSA Lablet in Science of Security, that was in 2017. We are actually part of a team. Vanderbilt is the main prime, the contractor. So some of us like UT Dallas, Berkeley, and so on are part of the team. And also I'd like to mention that one of our faculty also got Science of Security Prize, special best paper, it's called Best Paper Award. And that was received, I believe, about last year in 2019. So I should have added that as well. DHS grants in cyber physical systems. And more recently, we've got something on NSF COVID-19, NSF rapid grants. Fellowship and awards, multiple IEEE fellows, and we have ACM fellow, which is very prestigious for a computer scientist. AAAS, that is the American Association for Advancement of Science. IACR, the Cryptographic Society, very prestigious. National Academy of Inventors. We've got multiple IBM faculty awards. Oh, as I said, NSA Science of Security Best Paper Award in 2019, and multiple IEEE and ACM awards, such as IEEE CS Technical Achievement Award and the IEEE ISI Technical Achievement Award. So, number of awards. We've also got a number of 10-year test of time. What happens is that you publish a paper, and then 10 years later, they look at, every conference looks at the paper that has had significant impact. And so we were quite pleased that we got it back to back, and SACMAT is a very prestigious conference in 2018 and 2019 for papers published in 2008 and 2009. AFCEA, Armed Forces Communications Electronic Association, Medal of Merit, and multiple Dallas Business Journal Women in Technology Awards. So as you can see, we have a very strong program and accomplishments. Oh, still continuing with the accomplishments, numerous keynote addresses, IEEE S&P, CCS, KDD, SIGMOD, and top-tier publications. And like for instance, during this COVID time, right, we sort of closed school, we went online March 13th. And so between March and October, I would have given, I believe, about 6 or 7 keynote addresses. So which sort of, I know it's very unfortunate that we have got COVID, but on the other side, on the other hand, I look at some of the positives, meaning that, I'm able to give all these keynote addresses virtually because I wouldn't be able to go to Shanghai and Zhengzhou and New Orleans and whatnot, these various cities, Las Vegas. And the other thing is, because we have got this more time now on our hands, we don't have to drive, we don't have to go out to eat. So what happens all the time, I have available to me. So I do a lot of reading and studying, a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do that I didn't have time to do. So I finished advanced statistics and number of other topics. Anyway, so coming back to the presentation, UT Dallas, I delivered the Polycarp Kush lecture, and number of IUCRCs in software engineering, cloud, and hardware security. So I'll explain that later. So we had our 10-year celebration 2014, and we had presentations and codebreaker screening on the life of the brilliant Alan Turing, right? He is sort of the father of computer science. And that's why after him, they give every year very prestigious Turing Award. So, and one thing I wanted to mention, so last year I became an ACM fellow, actually 2018, and got the award in 2019. And it was something because that's where they announced the Turing Award, or they present the Turing Award, and it was just amazing. So student graduate placements, as I said, we have graduated around 80 PhD students, advised by the core faculty, and numerous master's students in our information assurance track. Diversity is extremely important for me. Significant percentage of female students, as well as students from the African American, Hispanic, and LGBTQ groups. So for instance, I would say that I finished about 18 students. I graduated, and I've got 4 more students in the pipeline. And by the time I would have finished these 22 students, at least 50% would be female. Government, they work for NSA, CIA, NAVIA, Federal Reserve, our students. They also work for FFRDC and labs like MITRE, MIT Lincoln Lab, Applied Physics Lab, which affiliated with Johns Hopkins, Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos. Industry, IBM, TJ Watson, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, eBay, Facebook, you name it, they're there. US academia, some of them have joined, as I said, academia, Clemson, UNCC, UCSD Medical School, Vanderbilt Medical School, US Military Academy, UT Southwestern Medical Center. So one of the challenges we have to send our students, PhD students, to academia is that industry can't get enough of our students, right? They all get very high pay and with stock options and signing bonuses. So it's very difficult for academia to compete with that. Now, I really don't know what's going to happen after COVID-19, but what I'm hearing is that the big companies like the Amazons and the Googles and the Facebooks and the Apples, they are hiring. Okay, so that finishes all our accomplishments. Now, thanks to our sponsors, without them, we wouldn't be where we are. Of course, NSF is our major sponsor, Air Force, Army, NASA, NIH, NSA, NGA, IAPA, and then Department of Defense, ONR, DARPA, MITRE, Sandia Tektronix, DHS, NIST, IBM. We've also got programs from SBIR, STTR from Air Force, as well as from NSF, VMware, Lockheed, SRC, Cisco, Texas Instruments, Nokia, Raytheon, so Sandia. So we've got, a number of sponsors, and I would say this is just a sample of them. Okay, thanks to all of them. And also our close collaborators. We have collaborated with several schools, and the 5 top schools, I would say, where we have most number of projects, multiple projects. Purdue, we have several, 5, 6 projects, UMBC, UTSA, San Antonio, Urbana-Champaign, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, we work with Vanderbilt Medical School, one of my colleagues. So we have a number of projects. And then you name it, Binghamton, Santa Cruz, MIT, Minnesota, University of Chicago, El Paso, Ohio State, UNC, Drexel, and University of Texas, Tyler, and so on. So a number of universities that we work, joint projects. So these are the universities that we do have joint funded projects. And we've also had joint projects with King's College, University of London. This is in the past, and University of Insubria, Italy. It was funded by AFOSR, and US Air Force also has a branch in Europe. So the London branch is European Office of Advanced Research and Development. So that office is in charge of Europe and I believe Africa, and maybe EMEA region, EMEA, Middle East as well. And then there is another office, I believe, in Tokyo, and they look at the Pacific Asia, and I believe there's also an office in South America. So I don't know where all their offices are, but this was from AFOSR, the European office. And so we looked at assured information sharing, where different organizations, such as UT Dallas, King's College, University of Insubria, we share data according to security policies. So I can tell London, I will share something with you, provided you don't share it with Italy. So we designed, implemented systems and demonstrated in a cloud. Okay, so here's another project very briefly. It's an experimental research project. It's called Ensure. So it's a cybersecurity information assurance experimental research. It's hugely popular amongst our students. I limit it to about 16 students every semester. And what happens here? The research problems are given by our government sponsors. It could be research lab, it could be NSA, it could be Air Force Research Lab, Sandia Research Lab, Los Alamos. And so they give the research problems, and our students work jointly, collaboratively within UT Dallas and sometimes across the universities. We have about, I would say, about 30 universities, but these were the first sort of 9 or 10 universities: Purdue, UMBC, I would say Mississippi State, UC Davis, Iowa, and Northeastern, Carnegie Mellon Stevens, and Dakota State University, together with UT Dallas. We formed, I believe, the first 10 universities, but now Purdue took the lead all these days. But now we have, I think, from San Bernardino Community College, I believe they are taking the lead. So this is a really fun project for our students. Okay, other collaborations. We do work a lot with ARL South, as I said, on adversarial machine learning. We have a point of contact, Dr. Jonathan Backlash. So we work on behavioral sciences, various topics, and participating in various ARL planning workshops, such as cyber fogginess and some research directions for the BAA. And we also organize, as I said, a number of workshops. So this was an ARL workshop on adversarial machine learning. And then some of our faculty have spent summer at AFRL, Air Force Research Lab, and they have worked in cloud computing security. We also collaborate with NIST because we are a member of the advisory board, and we write proposals and submit, and some of them have gotten funded. And so we have had research collaborations on cyber physical system security, as well as we participate off and on in NIST Big Data Security and Privacy Workshop. We are also having discussions with NSA in Texas, San Antonio. So we are really pleased that we got the Science of Security Lablet now from Vanderbilt. So we are between Vanderbilt and UC Santa Cruz and us, and some other universities as well. So Santa Cruz and us, we will have a joint project. So that's going to get funded anytime. So we also have multiple NSA funded projects on research and curriculum development. And I'll talk about it a little later. Example with data analytics, security, and privacy. So we have lots of course development that we do for the government. Collaborations with corporations such as Raytheon, IBM, Lockheed. So lots of activities going on. Fine. Now I'm going to talk about our research thrusts. We have 9 research thrusts. We could have more, we could have less in the future. So software security and active malware defense. Dr. Kevin Hamlin, PhD Cornell, and some others in the team. Number of sponsors: NSF, Air Force, NSA, NASA, ONR, DARPA, Sandia, and so on. What we do here is things like reactively adaptive malware. See what? I'm just going to talk very briefly, and you can read number of our papers. So these malicious code, malware, they're changing patterns, right? We have to catch them even after they change patterns, because it's antivirus products, right? They won't be catching the malware that is mutating, because they can only catch certain malware. So what we have to do is to figure out how they are going to mutate, what are the potential mutations, and then we develop software to catch that malware. And then, of course, we share it with the antivirus products. So that's really, very interesting. Another topic is, I want to say, author attribution. So when you write something, then you say, no, I didn't write it. But we have developed software that can pinpoint exactly who wrote it. It's good to figure out anonymous articles, who has written them. Also, state-sponsored terrorism, right? What the states are, other terrorist states are writing. So that's something that will be quite useful, I believe. So that's research thrust 1 on malware. Trust 2 is something that I worked on for the last, as I said, 35 years, since 1985 fall. And now my colleague, Dr. Murat Kantajulu, PhD Purdue, he's one of the top experts in the field, data security and privacy. He does work on privacy preserving record linkage, so you can link multiple records, put it together, each one, you could have removed the identity, right? Identifying a field, but when you put it together, the privacy could be compromised. Adversarial machine learning, what happens if the machine learning techniques are attacked? That could be a disaster, because we are using machine learning for almost everything, right? For healthcare, for finance, for security, and so on. But what happens if these machine learning techniques are attacked? That could be a disaster. Secure data provenance. So you publish a piece of information, especially like for fake news. You have to develop tools to trace it. Who initially posted that fake news? Did it come from a person, or did it come from cyber bots? It's not easy. Another thing I mentioned, policy-based information sharing, that project that we had between US, Europe, and US, London, and Italy. Security and privacy for social networks. Inference control is something that is very dear to me. I've been working in this field for 35 years. Risk-aware security. So we team a lot with our top-notch risk specialists, risk analysis. And my colleague, Murat Kantajulu, also has got a grant for data science for COVID-19 and security and privacy. So a number of publications, so anything to do with data. And I also would like to add more topics here. Blockchain, that's really quite important here. And again, Dr. Kantajulu is a top expert in that field as well. Okay, third trust is something that I have worked on. I teach this class, Secure Cloud Computing. My two classes I teach, Secure Cloud Computing, Secure Social Media, and that's in the summer. And then in the fall, it's going to be big data security and privacy. So we have things like, this is Research Trust 2. Research Trust 3 actually is, I'm correct, sorry. I thought this was some of the trust I'm mentioning. It's all correct, don't worry. So it's virtual machine introspection, right? That's for secure cloud. How do you secure the virtualization layer? And so one of my colleagues, he's now at Ohio State, but he developed the work while at UTD. He developed something called VM Space Traveler. I believe he obtained a patent. And then Dr. Murat Kantajulu works on secure cloud data storage, secure cloud query processing, and assured information sharing in the cloud, as well as social network security and privacy. So all of that comes under secure cloud computing and social media, number of publications. Okay, the fourth area is cyber physical systems and IoT security. So Dr. Cardenas really started this work, okay? So now he's joined UC Santa Cruz, but we've got a very strong team. We've got Kankuk G, who is PhD Columbia, and Kim is going to join us, a PhD Purdue. And we also have Kong Liu, PhD from UNC. So a lot of interesting work that they are doing. Control system security, integrating security with real-time systems, policy-related security. So this is an area I think we're really going to focus on doing more things like autonomous vehicles, Internet of Transportation. So this is something that's going to be very important for us. Then Research Trust 5 is hardware security. And this is mostly members of our team from the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department, Yorgos Makris, he's a PhD from UC San Diego, and Kanad Basu from, joined us from University of Florida and postdoc at NYU. So they do a lot of very interesting work, hardware Trojans, because remember, Trojan horses are not just for software, there's also hardware, right? Because some say if we can do everything in hardware, we wouldn't need software. But for that to happen, I think it's going to take a very, very long time. So we software folks still have opportunities for jobs. So counterfeiting, IP piracy, reverse engineering, security verification validation, and design automation tools, and so on for security. So a number of research areas. And okay, so they publish typically in some very prestigious journals, IEEE Transactions and Care of Integrated Circuits. So one of the things I wanted to mention, because we have people from multiple schools, right, for computer scientists, what is really important for us to give us that credibility is top-notch conferences, right? Their acceptance rates are like 10%, 10 to 15%. So that, but we also publish in IEEE and ACM transactions, but more and more what's giving us credibility is top conferences, and especially the junior faculty. They are really trained to publish in top-notch conferences versus say someone like me, 40 years ago I finished my PhD, so now and I was trained to publish in top-notch journals, so I've got a number of top-tier journals. And more recently, I've also, after joining the university, I've also published in, top-tier conference publications. Whereas electrical engineering, they still value these top-notch journals, as well as policy and political sciences and mathematics and so on. Journals count a lot for that. Okay, Thrust 6, my colleague, Professor Latifa Khan, Peng Chen, and Nicholas Riozzi. So they work in, I call it security analytics, machine learning. So machine learning for a number of applications, and not necessarily in cybersecurity, whereas that's my main focus. But more recently, we're also looking a lot in public health, healthcare, and so on. Geospatial data management, something that we've done a lot of work, stream and social media analytics. So number of sponsors, NSA, IAPA, NASA, NGA, and so on. And this is something that also I'm very active in. So if you talk about two areas I work on, is data security and privacy, and security analytics and machine learning. And as you can see, there are many others who also work in this area. Okay, and a number of publications. Thrust 7, network security. Okay, so we started actually with network security, which is in the beginning, it was Kamil Sarak, but then, and Jorge Cobb, and then Shuang joined us from Georgia Tech and his PhD and postdoc at UCSB, Santa Barbara. And Zygmunt Haas is a world-famous wireless network security expert, PhD from Stanford, and he joined us from Cornell. He was a full professor at Cornell. So they work in wireless network security, network measurements, software-defined security, DNS attacks, a number of areas they work in. And last but not least, cryptography. I think this is our Thrust 8. We have 9 thrusts. I think we have one more. So Ivo Desmet, he's a world-famous cryptographer, and Murat Kantarjulu, world-famous data security and privacy. Because remember, for data security and privacy like blockchain, and in areas like blockchain, you really need to have a very good understanding of encryption and cryptography. So they work in areas like secure multi-party computation, crypto protocols, privacy, blockchain, Bitcoin. And as you can see, number of publications. We publish in places like Eurocrypt, Crypto Conference, and ICDM. So IEEE Transactions on Information Theory, as well as some of the top-notch conferences like ACM, CCS, and so on. We have published papers in this area. And yes, we have one, this is the last thrust. Secure software engineering. We are sort of building a fairly core group now. We have Wei and we have Yang, right? They work in secure software engineering, and we have now Eileen Yan. She's also one of the experts in secure software engineering. And so most of the sponsors, I think, in this area, NSF, so they do work on security testing, secure design, secure services. And I think this is an area we are planning to also expand in this area. Okay, so what are some of the high priority research focus areas? Now, I've listed some. These are not all, okay? So something that is really important for many of us, I would say, is integrating cybersecurity with AI, machine learning, data science. So that's for myself, Dr. Murad Kantajalu, Dr. Latifa Khan, and Dr. Feng Chen, Dr. Nicholas Riotsi, all of us work in this area. And so we have AI, ML, DS applications to cybersecurity and adversarial machine learning. So this is both for software and hardware, okay? Handling attacks to machine learning models. Remember I mentioned what happens if these machine learning and AI techniques if they are attacked? It could be a complete disaster. Privacy aware AI, ML, DS, because of AI and ML, you can put collections of stuff together and infer something that is highly private, or individual information could be private, but we have to give out collections such as diabetes occurs in, say, a certain part of Texas. We also hear a lot about AI for good, but is AI fair and is there bias? So we have some projects that we are working on right now in this area. Another area I think is becoming really important is cyber physical system security and IoT security, autonomous vehicles, critical infrastructures, as well as Internet of Transportation. And that's something we have G, and we also have Dr. Kanku G and Dr. Kim, who is joining us. So they are working in this area. Dr. Kevin Hamlin is a top expert in autonomous and adaptive cyber deception. So he's really, quite involved in that, as well as binary code analysis and malware detection. And Dr. Murad Kantajalu, of course, in blockchain and cybersecurity. So does Dr. Latifa Khan. A number of applications, right? While cybersecurity is our main application, of course, that's what we all work on mostly, but we are also looking at applications such as geospatial sciences, social sciences, political sciences, healthcare and public health, especially with COVID-19, and counterterrorism. So now we come to education. As I said, education and research to me go hand in hand. Our research projects, the results, we incorporate them into education. Based on education, we get our PhD students who conduct research. So it is, they are really, really close to each other, right? From research, we get education. From education, we get research. Okay, so as I said, number of sponsors, NSF, DOD, IBM, NSA, and so on. Most crucial program is SFS Scholarship for Service. Started in fall 2010, I mentioned to you, and by 2024, we would have graduated at least over 80 students, at least 80. I would say it would be more like 84, 85, right? US citizen students by 2024, and we would have placed them with federal government. We have had huge success with that program. What is really interesting is that we are starting an interdisciplinary master's in cybersecurity. It is one of the very few interdisciplinary programs, a comprehensive program, and it's going to be offered from our School of Economics, Policy, Political Sciences, EPS. And our dean of that school, Jennifer Holmes, she's the one who's going to manage this program, and I will be supporting her. And that starts fall 2020. But this is also under our Cybersecurity Institute. So one of the things that, while you can see the sort of electrical and computer science, engineering and computer science is sort of a major player, we value everyone, right? So we work collaboratively together. It could be mathematicians and management scientists and policy scientists and political scientists, behavioral scientists. It's one institute for all of us. DOD IA scholarship, just like scholarship for service, the Department of Defense offers smaller grants, and also for education and scholarship and capacity building. And then Gen Cyber, this is we have a lot of camps for junior and senior high school students in practical cybersecurity education and experimentation. So this we have during the summer. Unfortunately, this summer we don't have this program because with COVID-19. So NSF capacity development, number of capacity developments. So what we do, I'll tell you. So assured cloud computing, mobile systems, big data security, software-defined networks, blockchain. So from this capacity development, we build sort of instruments and prototypes, not prototypes actually. We build systems to support our education, okay? And so we use this to enhance our classes. And then this will in turn help with our research. And that same thing I mentioned earlier, research feeds into education, education feeds into research. And this program capacity development mainly feeds into our education program. So as part of this, we have written a number of books. Our last book, I believe, was Big Data Analytics with applications in insider threat detection. That was published, let's see, 2.5 years ago. Yes, and now we are just about, beginning to write the book. Actually, tomorrow is our start date, and that is in secure data science, integrating cybersecurity and data science. This program also, we develop laboratories, we have practical programs for students, experimental, and then we also work, as I said, experimental research project. Remember the Ensure, participating in Ensure program, and it's going to be 12 straight semesters. I'm quite proud. I think we're one of the few, maybe the only university. I really don't have that as a fact, but that's what I believe. And it's January 2015 is when we started, and we have plans until December 2020. Okay, and we are going to continue. Okay, so I need, I've had excellent research assistants to help me and teaching assistants with this program. So I need to find an excellent, because my current PhD student, as a part research, part TA, research assistant, he is finishing, I believe, December 2020. So I need to find someone really good to continue with this for January, because students just love this course and they get all the background experimental experience they need for cybersecurity. Okay, so now continuing with cybersecurity education, TechSO, I mentioned to you, right? Texas Security Awareness Week. And I don't want to take the full credit for the idea because it was modeled after NYU, New York University, had something called CISO, Cybersecurity Awareness Week. Okay, so they had it before us, I believe, but a few years, 2 or 3 years before us. So since 2011, we have about 40 to 80 students participate from Texas and neighboring states in practical cybersecurity exercises and workshops. We also offer professional courses on CISSP, Cybersecurity Essentials, that cover the CISSP modules. I've also taught at Air Force bases in cybersecurity through our Air Force Armed Forces Communications Electronic Association, to the DoD and to the intelligence community. A lot of cybersecurity outreach, talks at high schools, DFW public libraries, general public, to make the students and public aware. So I talk at public libraries, and more recently, I believe in October, I talked to the Subcontractors Association. Very heavily involved with women in cybersecurity, women in data science, CyberW, women in cybersecurity research, women in services computing, women in communications engineering, and so on. And so a number of degrees and certificates, master's degrees in cybersecurity. We have a special track in computer science department, undergraduate certificates and programs. What we are really pleased is the interdisciplinary masters offered in the cybersecurity from economics and policy science. So this course is going to have not only some computer science classes, some policy, criminology, auditing, governance, risk analysis, as well as behavioral aspects of security. So students are going to get an excellent, full, well-rounded education in cybersecurity. Number of courses that we have offered: computer information security, network security, data application security, you name it, we have it. We are also planning some new trustworthy machine learning, advanced network security, cybersecurity policy and risk. So our students could take a few courses, and then we are planning what these courses are, and then they could get some kind of a certification in trustworthy machine learning or policy and risk and so on. Okay, so that finishes our education. I've got now a few more charts. Systems, prototypes, tools developed from research, education, experimentation. Number of tools. My colleague, Professor Latifa Khan, he is an expert on developing data science tools for malware, botnet detection, insider threat detection, buffer overflow, email worm. Dr. Hamlin has developed a number of tools for cyber deception, honey patching. He's developed Frankenstein is actually, it's kind of scared everyone. It's a malware. And he showed the world how easy it is to put together this malware from legitimate pieces of software. So that was really, really interesting. And he got coverage in almost every news outlet and television. You scientist, economist, you name it. Okay, mostly all extremely positive. Of course, some people were concerned, why are these guys developing malware? But of course, we have developed all these things in an extremely controlled environment. Remember, we have a SIAL lab. Secure cloud data storage system. Dr. Kartajalu has, NSFSBIR and is commercializing some technology. Dr. Khan and I, we have done some work on social media analytics and multiple patents and NAI, National Academy of Inventors Fellowship. Reverse engineering and binary code analysis, Dr. Lin. He was with us for quite a while, and now he's at Ohio State. So he does work on smart code malware analysis, and so is Dr. Khan, has done some work in this area. Now we've got some of our new folks. Dr. Kankuk G, he's actually PhD from Columbia University. And so he does work in this area. We just finished a proposal, Dr. Khan, him and I, to the National Science Foundation on May 29th. And then Dr. Kim, who is going to join us in the fall. So we are building strong expertise. Other tools and systems. Remember, hardware. We've got a very strong group between Dr. Makris and Dr. Basu. They are, experts in hardware security. And Karin has developed IoT security systems, and now Dr. Yen has developed some tools, as well as Internet of Transportation. We are working on some things, and Dr. G and Dr. Kim will also be working in this area. And Dr. Sarak works in network measurements. So remember I mentioned IUCRC, Industry University Cooperative Research Centers. We have 3 of them affiliated with our Cybersecurity Institute. One is Network-Centric and Cloud Software Systems, Professor Farooq Bastani. He's a PhD from UC Berkeley. Security and Software Systems Engineering, Eric Wong, PhD from Purdue, and Center for Hardware and Embedded Systems Security by Dr. Makris, his PhD from UC San Diego. Okay, I'm only going to give you a sample, only one, and that is Dr. Bastani's IUCRC, because I believe that was our first IUCRC, independent center affiliated with Cybersecurity Institute. So they have developed some very interesting things. So what is IUCRC? So a bunch of universities work together, and NSF gives a small amount of funding, right? And companies have to fund, companies or research laboratories or whatever. They have to also provide funding, and they get, and the intellectual capital, I believe, is owned by everyone. Don't quote me on that, but there is something that NSF about intellectual capital. I don't believe any one company owns it, but it's open to everyone. Service-based and component-based technologies. So they pioneered some techniques on service-oriented systems and service-oriented security. And they are now from net-centric. They've also moved into cloud. And I'll talk a little bit about their organization. Let's see. The members are UT Dallas, University of North Texas, Southern Methodist University. All 3 are in the DFW Metroplex area. And 2 other universities, Arizona State University from Tempe, Phoenix area in Arizona, and Missouri Science and Technology, University of Science and Technology. I believe they are in Rolla, Missouri. Actually, I visited them to give a talk, a distinguished CRA, Women Talk from the Computing Research Association. I was a distinguished lecturer for them 2015, I believe. So I visited University of Missouri Science and Technology. So they're part of the IUCRC. Number of companies: US Army, Texas Instruments, Springs, Samsung, Raytheon, you can see, Boeing. So the challenge for these universities is that I think each university has to bring in 5 companies. And now don't quote me on the actual number 5, or it's a certain amount of money, right? So if you say 30K per company, then it's 5 companies per university, I believe. But if one company can give 150K, then I think that also counts. But what is interesting here is that companies are providing problems, are guiding the direction. So the professors will propose research problems, companies decide and select which ones they would like, and they guide the research. In a way, it's a little bit like the INSURE project I mentioned, experimental research in computer science, because the government, federal government, they guide the students, they give us the research problems. So here, the companies are guiding the students. So I haven't been directly involved. Eventually, I think I would like to do an IUCRC with one of my colleagues, maybe after next year, maybe in 2022 or whatever, but I've got so much to do right now that with this institute and so on. And so this is, this is really interesting. Okay, so Cyber Operations Lab in progress. So we got some funding from ARO to build this SIAL. Remember, we had the security analysis lab. So we're kind of converting it, because we used to do a lot of digital forensics and so on in that lab and some cloud computing. But now we want to change that. We're changing that into a cyber operations. So right now we are sort of got some equipment for IoT security. So what we are trying to do, it's a secure IoT system, layered architectures, hardware network. So we've got this set up. But how do we move from here to a cyber operations? What is cyber operations? Cyber operations actually, so we have to be, we have to anticipate what our enemy is up to, adversary, right? Because not only we have to defend ourselves, it has to be actively defending ourselves. To actively defend, we've got to figure out what our enemy's adversary is doing, right? So that is the whole concept. And we are NSA certified cyber operations. We got the first certification. We were the first to get certified in Texas and 14th in the country. And so this is something we really want to build. And I'm really pleased that Dr. Kankuk Ji, the guy who joined us from PhD Columbia, he also had some industry experience at NEC Research Lab. And now we've got Dr. Kim, who will be joining us, Purdue PhD, and a couple of years also at NEC Research Lab. So I'm so pleased that they are both there. They will both be together now in the starting fall. Kankuk is already with us. Hopefully they can build this further. So I'm really looking forward to this. Fine, summary and directions. So just summarizing our accomplishments, we have all the certifications we need from NSA DHS in education, research, and cyber operations. 2, award-winning faculty, because we are IEEE Fellows, ACM Fellow, IEEES Fellow, NAI Fellow. We have got top awards from IEEE and ACM, top-tier journals and conferences, strong cybersecurity education program. Remember, education is, for me, is extremely important. Just as important as research, because without education, you can't have research, and without research, you cannot really enhance your education program. And we've got multiple SFS grants, collaboration with academia, industry, and government labs, multiple patents and commercialization activities, and of course, prestigious grants, including careers and YIPS and Mury and VMware, Amazon partnerships, and NSA Science of Security lablets, and multiple large, medium, and small secure, trustworthy cyberspace grants from NSF, multiple MRIs and jury grants, and the list goes on. What are the directions? We are, I believe, in a very good opportunity, very good position to do more work and help the world with this COVID pandemic. We have already started. And my colleague, Dr. Murat Kantajalu, he is doing work now for NSF together with Vanderbilt Medical School on security and privacy aspects. And Dr. Khan and I are also looking at applying data science. In fact, Dr. Kantajalu has spearheaded an initiative at UT Dallas to become sort of build a very innovative dashboard to pinpoint all the stuff that is going on with COVID in the DFW area. Fully functional cyber operations lab. This is something I really, really want to have in the future. Focus on new thrusts as technology evolves, right? We started actually with 3-4 thrusts, and now you can see we've got 9. One thing that is really dear for me is to get a large center scale, like a ERC or a science and technology center. You know, that's one thing that I that is sort of missing in our kind of portfolio. You know, we've got very prestigious awards. We've got MURI, which is very large. We're part of a $7.5 million MURI. We've got large SATSI grants. We are part of Lablet, but a large center scale. 10 million is the minimum. I would like it to be like 20, 30 million if we can get that. That's something that I really would like to focus on, and establish an industry consortium. That's also important, where companies, you know, pay money for our research. So something that I wanted to do for the 3-4 years, that partly because we've got so much of other things to do. So this is something that we need to do for the future. And also, I've been doing this now for almost 16 years this October, and I'm planning to do this for at least another year. And then we also have to, you know, plan on the transitioning of the Cybersecurity Research and Education Institute. I really believe in transitioning, because we really need to motivate our younger faculty to take on responsibilities. So developing, you know, making them head of Cybersecurity Institute, or build a data science institute. So these are some of the things that I really want to participate, and be a mentor, continue to be a mentor for all the junior faculty, and also work for women in cybersecurity, women in data science. And in fact, just before COVID started, I was talking to some of my colleagues at George Washington University. Maybe we could start something on African Americans in cybersecurity, African Americans in data science. So these are some things that we really have to do, because, as I said, diversity is, you know, very, very important, because we need to have a diverse group of people, men, women, right? We have, you know, Caucasian people, Asians, South Asians, East Asians. We must have more African Americans. We must have LGBTQ. We must have Hispanic Americans or Latino Americans. You know, it takes everyone to make cybersecurity and data science a success. I want to thank, of course, Ms. Rhonda Walls. She keeps us all sane and, you know, support. She provides us with excellent support. And let's see, you can contact us. Our emails are there, and you can Google us, and you can find our websites, and follow us at CyberUTD on Twitter. And I've got a YouTube channel where I'm going to post all these presentations that I've given. So mostly all the technical presentations that I have given. So this is also, this will go on YouTube. And I'm also planning, because with COVID, I've got, you know, a lot of time on my hands, some of the motivational presentations. I do write motivational articles. I believe I've written about 44 of them over the last 11 years. So some of them I'm going to convert into presentations, and I'd like to motivate everyone that, you know, in spite of the darkness and despair outside, there's also a lot of hope, and something that each one of us can do. And this is, I'm saying, unprecedented opportunity for us to really improve ourselves and do all the things that we really wanted to do, we really wanted to learn, because this opportunity will not come again. And I really hope this opportunity does not come again, because we do not want another pandemic, right? So we can't help it now, it's there. And so let's do the best we can. And please, we'll be very pleased to answer your questions. If you want to support us in any way, we will be very honored. And various other things. So please, you can contact Rhonda Walls, or you can contact me, follow us on CyberUTD, look at our YouTube channel, as well as contact any of the professors. You know, I mentioned several professors. I have not given you all their emails, but you can, you know, Google them, or go to our UT Dallas website or the CSI website. And we are updating the website during the summer with all these changes, with new faculty joining. So please feel free to contact us anytime. And thank you very much for listening to the presentation. And I would really welcome feedback from you. Thank you. Bye.